What's gone on in the last week with Claude and ChatGPT and them embedding these watermarks and these ID markers into any copy that AI helps us write, any copy that AI edits, any images that AI helps to create or edit. There's now these identification markers that we can't get rid of, but I'm going to tell you what you can do about it for both Claude and ChatGPT, that now it can be identified that AI helped do this. And what's going on is people are freaking out. Number one, they don't want their stuff, if they're writing copy, somebody say, oh, you used AI to write that. But also, if you take this stuff that the platforms are giving it to you, and then you use that to run social media campaigns or YouTube campaigns or LinkedIn campaigns or whatever, that those platforms are then able to identify that AI was used and they are deprioritizing, the engagement is much lower. So I want to detail for you what has gone on, what you can do about it. And this is the truth, because there's so much rumor out there, there's so much garbage. So I want to tell you what's actually going on. So first off, what has happened? Okay, so what happened was Claude, which is Anthropic, is the company that makes Claude. Okay, and on August 2nd, Anthropic put an invisible, machine-readable watermark into any text it generates or into any text it heavily edits. And why did they do this? They did this to be compliant with the European Union's AI Act that just went into effect, which is this whole idea of transparency around AI-generated content. But they didn't just have it apply to Europe. They had to apply to the entire world, everything, everywhere, period, hard stop. Now, here's the deal. No matter what tier you're on, okay, it does not matter. You could be paying for the Pro Max, whatever. It's still going to be putting in there this stuff. Now, here's what it is and what it's not. Claude is not secretly inserting some invisible characters into your paragraph. That's not what it's doing. What it is, and that's where a lot of the rumors are. What it's doing is Claude is writing something, like, for example, it would say, if it gave you back some copy, maybe it would write something that would said, this campaign was surprisingly effective. But it could also give you back copy that said, this campaign performed surprisingly well. Essentially, they're both saying the same thing. And normally, their model has some randomness in deciding which perfectly acceptable wording to choose. But now what's going on, Claude is basically using what's called a watermark that is using these subtle differences in choice patterns to hide a pattern in what it gives you back. And while to your eyes and to a regular reader, you can't see that there's any difference here, right? But over hundreds of words and enough of these choices and statistical like fingerprints, it is now identifiable by Claude and any of the other AI tools to see, oh, this was not written by a human. So you can't see it. You can't spell check for it. Copying into a Google Doc doesn't remove it. Pasting it into LinkedIn doesn't automatically remove it. The watermark is essentially a pattern of words Claude has chosen. So it's not a hidden object, right? So here's the deal. If you use Claude to write copy, okay, that's going to be a major problem for you. Now, if you use Claude to help you fix your punctuation and grammar, it's not going to be a problem for you. What is essential, though, is that let's say you are using Claude the right way and you are writing something, your first draft, and you're not really good with grammar or punctuation. What you want to do is when you upload that, and this is very important, you want to say, here's something I wrote. Fix my grammar and punctuation, but don't rewrite this. And when you say don't rewrite this, Anthropic has actually said themselves, there's going to be no detectable watermark because Claude's not actually writing it for you. So no longer, right, can you use Claude to just be like, write my LinkedIn post and then you copy and paste it and publish it. No, now you have to, you can give Claude your ideas, have it organize them with you, pull out what you like, you rewrite it, okay? And then you can say, help me with my grammar and whatever. And that is going to allow you to not have these watermarks show up. And here's the secret. That's the way we should have been using this stuff the whole time. That's it, okay? So let's get into ChatGPT because it's a very, very different situation over there. So OpenAI right, is the company that owns ChatGPT and runs ChatGPT. They have a very, very different thing going on. They have nothing going on related to text. Okay, there is no ChatGPT watermark in their text, but there is stuff going on with their images. So their images have two different things going on. In their images, they have something called a C2PA metadata thingamabob, and then they have another thing called their SynthID. These are basically invisible watermarks, and they're trying to expand this all over the place. So what you want to be thinking about is when you are having ChatGPT help you make images, know that they have these two things: this metadata thing and this SynthID thing. So when you have it generate an image, what you want to do is have it generate the image ChatGPT, and then the worst thing you could possibly do is just download that image, whatever it is, and then use it somewhere. Use it on LinkedIn, use it on Meta somewhere. That's not going to work. If you take that image and you bring it into Canva, into Photoshop, okay, and then you add a headline and branding and design elements and resize it and crop it, and you make it your own, and then you export that as like a JPEG or whatever, the process will very likely, okay, have the metadata disappear. But it doesn't necessarily guarantee that the SynthID disappears. That being said, we've tested this hundreds of times. And what the big issue is, if you have ChatGPT create an image for you, and then you upload it to different platforms, even after you output of Canva and all this different stuff, and you get rid of the metadata, we actually have not seen it show up as a flagged AI created image. But ChatGPT is saying that they're working on their SynthID, so that way down the road it actually will show up as a SynthID AI created image, which will depress your performance. I don't care what anybody says. So here's the thing that nobody's really talking about yet. OpenAI, okay, has made a verification tool. Okay, it has made a verification tool. So you can now, okay, go to openai.com/research/verify. Okay, and this tool actually allows you to upload an image of any kind into ChatGPT, and then it will tell you, was this created using AI? So if you output your image from ChatGPT that you created, you mess around with it, and then you upload it to the new OpenAI image verification tool, and you can just Google OpenAI image verification tool. You upload the image after you mess around with it, it will tell you, hey, no, this wasn't created using AI, and then you will know that you kind of circumvented it all. I know that that's bad, but that's the reality of where we're at, and this is all important stuff.